here we are in late March of 2018, and you're finally all going to get what you wanted. The Democrats, the liberals, George Soros, CNN, you're all going to get what you wanted. I was wrong. You were right. Trump is a betrayer and a liar and has sold us all out. I am officially off the Trump train. I agree with the president's hardline supporters that he needs to be impeached. And I guess it's all over. It's absolutely all over because the Republican and the Democrat House and Senate passed a spending bill. It's not their fault. They're good people. And Trump signed it today. It didn't matter that he said it was a scam, it was out of control, they were holding him hostage, and it was cutting off military funding during critical crises with North Korea and China and Russia. That's all just talk. It didn't matter that he pointed out that they were trying to cut off border funding or veterans funding or old folks funding or Medicare or Medicaid or any of it. It's not the Republicans' fault in the House and Senate for passing the bill with all the pork barrel. It's not the Democrats' fault in the House and Senate. It's Trump's. And I don't care if he killed TPP the first week in office that was unelected and took over the country. I don't care if he brought back 2 million jobs in 14 months. I don't care if he brought back $300 billion in new funding, at least. I don't care if we got $4 trillion in the stock market. I don't care if China has huge tariffs on us and he started tariffs against them yesterday. I don't care about that. I'm going with the crowd and what feels good, and my own InfoWars listeners commenting on Infowars.com that I'm a traitor, that I planned all this to screw you over, and that Trump's this piece of crap and we should have elected Hillary. You're right. God, Hillary was good, man. The Arab Spring and Bill Clinton and the globalists and the deindustrialization and the missile secrets to communist China and everything. Screw Trump renegotiating NAFTA and GATT and securing the border and breaking the back of political correctness and doing all the things that have happened. And having the media and the globalists so upset. You know, it doesn't matter. You're right. And it's true. In that spending bill, $500 million for Planned Parenthood. And it's true. It's got like millions of dollars for transgender studies in Kenya and millions of dollars for shrimp on treadmills. And it's not the fault of the Democrat congressmen and women that put that pork barrel on and held up all the military spending. It's Trump's fault. I'm starting to get the logic here of a victimized America that doesn't differentiate facts from fiction and just likes to feel pissed off. So now I sit back and I wish Hillary would have been elected. God, she's so strong, so virile, so amazing. The only person on earth can actually fly. The Wright brothers thought they could fly with planes. I mean, she's on record. She can fly. They said she was sick and fell down because that's the opposite of what she is. And the Awan brothers and Seth Rich and all of it, you know, I'm not appreciative for Trump going through all the things he's gone through. I'm not appreciative of the fact his hands are tied and he could hold up the economy right when the globalists want to implode it. No, it's his fault. And that nameless Democrat and Republican Congress, they're getting points right now saying he failed, they won with a big bankruptcy plan. But let me get serious for you and give you the real news here. There's a couple different schools of thought. There's 3 schools of thought. There's authoritarianism, a feudalism model where nobody has money but the top 1%. There's a capitalism model that creates incredible wealth and decadence and a lot of problems, but it does empower people. And there's a crony capitalist model. And you see communist China, which is the opposite of communism. It's fascism by a tiny 1/10 of 1%, the Politburo and the Chinese dictator. They, on average, you can look it up, have 10 times the fiat fake currency the U.S. has for the size of their economy. And they have taken over the world's economics. They've taken over the rare earth minerals. They've taken over the computer chips. They've taken over it all because our own elites put tariffs on America, prohibitive for us to be able to even compete. And so they come out, and the CFR, the globalists, the traders in America, say that the Chinese century's here. And then they leverage out all this debt, 10 times ours per capita, so they can buy up the majority of our debt the last decade. And so they can lecture us and buy up Hollywood and buy up the universities because they believe America's weak and we're all going to fall. And then Trump looks at that and says, well, I want to try to fix the budget, and I want to cut taxes to bring in more revenue, and I want to do all these good things, but I'm only 14, 15 months in. The globalists with Communist China allied are trying to destabilize us, trying to bring us down. So if Congress won't bring me a reasonable spending bill and make it pork barrel for us to get the things that are essential, I'm not a dictator. I'm going to go ahead and vote for that. I'm going to sign on to that and ask for a line item veto and ask for the power to stop that in the future. I don't have that power. But I'm not a dictator. The name of this video should be Trump, I'm not a dictator. And I can't turn the government off and Social Security checks and military checks and all this because your Congress, both Republican and Democrat, are holding us hostage. You, the people, we, the people, have to do something. And so he signs it. It's pragmatic. It's what he's always done. He understands that the Communist Chinese, the EU, they're all leveraged out debt-wise way more than we are. They're using that debt for elites to pass the debt on to the people, but to buy up airports and infrastructure and mines and ships and companies. And America for 50 years has been behind the 8 ball where we pay for it all, but the globalists get it all. And so Trump's sitting back going, we could leverage our debt 10 times what the Chinese have and actually put it in infrastructure. The globalists haven't done that for infrastructure here. They've done it for infrastructure in China. But Trump's like, we could fight fire with fire. But he goes, I'll take the moral road. I'll see if Congress does the right thing. And if they come in and try to balance this and fix it and then give us spending in critical areas, but cut it in others, as he's already done in the federal government, and they just ignore that, and the cowardly Republicans, many of them, want to go to their constituents and say, see, Trump sold you out. He signed it when they're the ones that went along with it when they had the control of the House and Senate. See how that works? And the Democrats, they go, hey, we got victory. Trump does what we want. Yay, bankrupt everything. But here's the deal. China and India and the EU and all of them are creating exponential debt on the backs of their people, like Zimbabwe did. And the U.S. has been caught up in this fake libertarian movement of, oh, it doesn't matter if China's got a 20% or 30% tariff on us or the EU does. We call it free and fair trade. You just let them do it. Trump's already said no to that yesterday. And then the Congress passes this whole deal. So it's very pragmatic. It's very reality-based if you know all the facts to say, I'm not a dictator. The Congress did this. It's got a lot of pork barrel. It's a mess. He called it, ridiculous. He called it, what was the exact term he called it? A mess. But he said, I'm not a dictator, so we're going to go ahead with this, but please give me the power for line item vetoes, which is constitutional, and please kill the filibuster so a 51% in the Senate of Republicans could have killed all the Democrats' spending, because the bill's got to match up with the House and Senate. Well, the Democrats have a veto in the Senate, and so they got all this, and Trump sat by with them holding the country hostage, hoping we go belly up so China becomes preeminent. That's the point we were at. So he's held up in check because the globalists have the country in checkmate, and he's coming to the people saying, I've done everything I can on the one-sided trade deals, I've done everything I can on the border, on the veterans, on political correctness, on cutting regulations, even before I got tax cuts to bring stuff back. I've done what I can. I've tried as hard as I can, and you're just going to sit here and blame me. He didn't even say that. He said it's a mess. You need to give us the power to kill the filibuster in the Senate with Senate rules. It's only been like that for 50 years, and you need to give me the line item veto, and we'll be able to stop this next time. And so my issue is Trump doesn't deserve the mantle of the guy that sold us out signing that when the House and the Senate, Republicans and Democrats, went for that. And when China and everybody else doesn't care, like Mexico or whoever, they're just leveraging all the debt for their elites to buy everything up, leaving it on their people. And then along comes Trump trying to fix that. It's an amazing time to be alive. So just because I've talked to Trump on the phone or he's been on the show, it's not I care less about Hollywood, celebrities. Before I really knew a lot about Donald Trump, he ran for office, I didn't particularly like him. Casinos, hotels, some flashy guy. I'm not into that kind of crap. He was just doing that for his own PR for his companies. The real Donald Trump's dad was John Bircher. He was against NAFTA and GATT. He paid millions of dollars fighting it. He loves America. And he just wants a pragmatic, reciprocal trade deal with the globalists and what they've done. so that America isn't penalized and America isn't cornered and America doesn't get put down because a bunch of socialists that set this up in the 50s and 60s got a hard-on for the country and their whole flowered and pivot. So if you want the real boil down, if you want the facts of what really just happened, you just got them. You just got them. And I'm sitting here on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. People say, why are you looking over here? Why are you looking over there? Why are you looking here? Because I got 3 cameras with hundreds of thousands watching right now, millions later. And, you know, I saw him saying, I think I'm going to veto this. It's a really big, bad scam this morning. And then he gets up and says, I reluctantly do it, but we're being held hostage and I don't have the power to control what Congress does, so I'm not going to hold the country up because the Chinese and everybody are command and control. And they're saying, don't worry, we can organize stuff no matter what. We can have 10 times the fake funding the U.S. does and inflation, and we'll give all you big companies unlimited returns. If you just move here, we'll give you 0 tax. We don't have that here. If you just invest with the Communist Party, that's all in the news. And Trump sees that. He lowers taxes from 40 to 15. China goes from 15 to 0 this month. So if you pragmatically sit back and go, Trump just funded Planned Parenthood. You're seeing it from all the Republican sites. And Trump just sold us out with the Democrats. It's the Republicans in Congress. And the fact that they've got that filibuster rule that allowed that in the Senate through. So, okay, here's the deal. The Democrats are up here blame-wise. The Republican Congress, the Senate's right here. The Republican House is here. Republicans want to sit there and make it Trump's fault, but you've got Democrat Senate because they've got that filibuster. It's basically a Democrat Senate. It's not a majority. And then you've got the Republican House, and then you got Trump. So it's not about defending Trump. They hate him because he's for real trying to restore the republic and our free market systems. So it'd be easier to get up here and go, and YouTube would suddenly open up the gates, and Facebook would, and suddenly my videos would get 20 million views again. And I could go, that's it, I'm sick of Trump. God damn it, he sold us out, what a traitor. Why, he voted with the Democrats to fund Planned Parenthood, and he did all these things, and he sold out his whole thing he was going to do, except yesterday he took on the Communist Chinese. And the week before that, he defended the border. And the week before that, he got the tax cuts. And the week before that, he took out the mandate in Obamacare. And the week before that, he delivered everywhere he could. But he can't on this because it's the budget, and we have 3 branches of government. Legislative, that's the Congress. Judicial, that's the courts. And the executive, that's the president. And the president doesn't even have full control of the executive. So the good news is populism is exploding everywhere. People are waking up to this. It's bigger than Trump. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than you. The Speaker of the House in Hungary went public and exposed the globals today. It's on Infowars.com. Laid out how it's all an anti-human, transhumanist takeover of the family. People are getting it, so that's the good news. So we don't rise and fall with Trump, but Trump's for real. He's just a throwback, pragmatist, pro-America guy that says, we got world power, we're free market. Why should we shit on America and bring it down for some greater UN plan when America can be great and the whole world can be great? And they hold him hostage with military spending and everything else and the military's paychecks and say he's got to do this. And then the Republican establishment, which are a bunch of blue bloods who just want to shift blame from themselves, the same ones that can't get the votes passed in the Senate to end the Democrat filibuster, sit there and play you like you're morons. The globalists, the establishment, are in panic mode because for the first time in modern history, we've got a president that isn't out to get the country. But it isn't about Trump. It's about all of us that got him there and realizing the point we're at right now. Now, I'll be back Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. covering this. We'll have live broadcast tomorrow getting into it. We've got articles with 4,000 or 5,000 comments today, you know. Trump's base blows up at him. But I'm not an SJW, man. I'm not somebody that doesn't know the facts and doesn't know the angles to this. And I want prosperity. I want free market. And I know where we are. So if you just joined us, impeach Trump. Where would we be with Hillary right now? War, economic collapse, it was all planned. And it's not a lesser of two evils. And I'm not calling for Trump to be a dictator. Every time I say this, Media Matters, George Soros, Right Wing Watch, CNN, they all say, Jones says Trump is a dictator, it's why he can't fix things. No, we don't want that. We're not North Korea, we're not China. We're more sophisticated than that. We want to empower the people. We believe in the ethos of the people. But when they want to misrepresent our president as a dictator and then say he didn't do it, he didn't fix it, it's just like saying you didn't fix it or I didn't fix it. I know our system of government. And he said, help me change this. Help me get a line item veto. Help me end the filibuster. This is horrible. This is a mess. God, they've got hundreds of millions for transgender brainwashing of children. They've got, millions of dollars for shrimp on treadmills. You know the regular crap. And then Rand Paul, nice guy, but, it's easy for him to sit there and play like he's on the outside and come in and bitch all day and say, oh, look at all this spending and act like Trump did it, when he knows full and well it was the Republicans and the Democrats that voted for it and sent it to his desk. Then I see Rand Paul just 30 minutes ago on TV like, oh, Trump did this, Trump did that. And you're not the president, Rand Paul. You tried to, in the debates, play along with CNN and bash Trump and try to get points. How'd that do for you? You got elected to the Senate when they were all against you because you were anti-establishment and because you went on the Patriot shows and you spoke out. We didn't need you. You needed us. And you keep thinking, playing both sides of the fence and acting all intellectual when CNN hates you more than ever, and Joy Behar and all of them when you got physically attacked, and a bunch of the Democrats wished you were dead. They didn't even differentiate intellectually that you were siding with the Democrats a lot of the time, rhetorically. They wanted you dead anyways. And so, it's a joke. It's a joke. And it's a bunch of politicians hoping people don't pay attention to what you're doing and what you're up to. Trump has as much power over what happened in the Congress as the American people do, which is a lot to influence them, but they got a bunch of special interests and a bunch of constituents that want them to get bigger pork barrel, and a bigger situation. What Trump proposed was over $100 billion lower than what they proposed. It was probably still too big. But I spent time studying the facts. I spent time looking at what Trump proposed. I spent a lot of damn hours knowing what I'm talking about. And it's not about defending Trump. It's about defending the truth. So a lot of you want Trump impeached. You want to sit there like you're holier than thou. Trump didn't pass the bill. So I got an idea for you. He signed it. He didn't pass it in the House and Senate. When you've found out about the votes and the few hours they had to read it all, it is an abomination. It is a mess. It is a scam. Trump said that. When you find out who voted who and what's in the bill, and you've gone after those Republicans and Democrats that did it, and they've been defeated and they've been punished, then we can talk about Trump. But it's like the Congress lit fire to the House, and then you bitch the fire department didn't show up soon enough. The communist Chinese are leveraging debt to buy everything up. They don't care about their people. They don't care about the future. They're in 10 times the debt Barron's and Harper's and others report. These big rating agencies than we are. They are just full-on walls of weaponized debt, just like communists do everywhere, to take over everything, short-term power. And America has a much bigger economy, so our debt's bigger than theirs in the aggregate, but not in the total, what they're doing and where it's about to go. And so Trump sees that and says, all right, if America doesn't want to cut the spending and increase the tax cuts for themselves and get things kickstarted, the least I can do is get these tariffs and cut these regulations and get some tax cuts. And then, all right, we'll just keep growing where we are, because if we signal that we're weak and we signal that we're insolvent and we signal now that we're not going to pay this fake debt, then it all implodes, instead of with the globalist bankers keep leveraging the debt forever. And then they stay on board because it's all mentally ill, fake zeros and ones. And in the end, we politically cut their throats. And that's Trump's plan a couple years from now. You think Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan and the Federal Reserve and all these crooks in our end game, in my end game, we dance with those that brung you, are going to be there? No. They're never going to do it. So be sophisticated, folks. The bankers already got us in debt. They've already taken over. Now the judo move is what the communist Chinese and everybody have done, allied with them. See, there's a little sophisticated thing with the Heritage Foundation that's for open trade, but it's one-sided and tells us we shouldn't have debt and stuff, which we shouldn't. and that I'm all of the expert on that, the Federal Reserve and the gold system and how Greenspan used to be a patriot and read his book, is that once they decided to go the debt route, they teach us conservatives to be against the debt route because it's already going to happen anyways. But so we never realize our salvation against the globalists would be to jack up the debt to create jobs and infrastructure and then double cross them later. And I'm not even saying do that, but that's what they fear. And that's why they fund all the libertarian think tanks to keep us from using the weapons the EU and the communist Chinese and the multinationals and the currency speculators have done, because everybody else is involved in currency devaluation and we're not supposed to do it. And that's another way they capture the United States. And that's the big secret. Trump didn't do all this. Trump inherited it. And he asked Congress to do the right thing. They didn't. So he looks at it, he goes, I'm not going to stall the economy. I'm not going to kill this. They're going to blame me. They said the stock market could go down 10,000 points if I do this. I warned the public. I told them the problem. I'm going to just keep the ship going, and I hope we can change this. We're all in the same position as Trump. And that's what I'm trying to say. The media and the enemy and the establishment Republicans, they all tell you Trump is the enemy because they're scared of it, ladies and gentlemen. So I've explained this. And the media is so deceptive, they'll probably take my clip saying impeach Trump or off the Trump train or any of this. But I saw it when Trump said he legalized 800,000 DACA that had been here for 20 plus years, had no criminal records, had college degrees. He said he'd do that in the campaign. Everybody said he hated all the Mexicans and wasn't going to let them in. He screwed us over on that. And I was like, well, I have the clips of him saying 2 years ago that it wasn't that. And the Democrats came back with total open borders, globalism, total chain migration, and it's all dead. And then he had a reasonable DACA on the floor again. They killed that. That's what Trump does. And so I look at Trump as a very studied person. I'm very studied. I live this. And he makes moves ahead of what I would think of. I'm 44. He's 71. I'm really impressed with Trump. He's a godsend. He's real. That's why they hate him so much. The hate's real. And he's very pragmatic, though. And so I just don't want the adulation of YouTube and Facebook letting me spread a video, because that's how it is if I go talk shit about the president. I mean, if he actually turns against us and screws us over, I will go to war with Trump and the Republican establishment he's been at war with. You know that. And I'm watching everything right now, but he's not a dictator. He's not God. It's not instant gratification. And he's gone through hell to get us this far. And you know a man by his enemies. They are freaking out right now. So we've gotten 80% of what we want in 15 months. I didn't think he'd get this done in 4 years. He's dwarfed what Reagan ever did. And if we're a bunch of instant gratification assholes, we all want to piss ourselves and call for impeachment and do all this crap, going, well, he funded Planned Parenthood. You're for killing babies now, boy. You ever gone protest at Planned Parenthood like I have 50 times or more? You ever been physically attacked by communists? Don't give me your crap. You ever adopted people like my family's done? You ever had folks on to stop black genocide in the abortuaries? And I'm not shooting my mouth off. Trump's speaking out against Planned Parenthood. Trump's marching at pro-life rallies. No Republican's ever done that. You judge a tree by its fruits. He's trying to put it back to the states. States are banning abortion all across the country. 3 states the last month. We're getting real change. And we're getting somebody that's dedicated to this cause. And you can see it and you can feel it. Now, he may fall. He's 71. I'm 44 and I'm tired. But everybody wants to impeach Trump. Everybody wants to bitch. And it's all part of being these victimology babies. I'm going to say it one last time. Did Trump pass the omnibus spending bill in the House and Senate? No. Did Trump say it was a nightmare and a total piece of garbage, but had a lot of critical spending in it, and the Americans should wake up and do something? Yeah, he did. All right. Everywhere he's got executive power on killing TPP, controlling the borders, shutting radical Islamists out, cutting regulations, getting tax cuts passed that was in the Congress, starting to gut Obamacare, and I run a company with over 100 employees. We're seeing that happen because it's a total scam to increase prices. He did it. This would be like if you had a soccer team or football team that scored 50 points in the first quarter to 0, and then they open up the second quarter and they get a goal, and you go, God damn it, I want to fire that coach. That's called fair weather shit. That's called sunshine patriots. Trump turns on us, I'll turn on him so fast it makes your head spin. But right now, I've looked at all the facts, and that's what's in. So, you want to blame Trump? I blame you, and you. All of you, you're constituents of that Congress, and they're the ones that did it. And all of you need to be impeached. All of you need to have your asses handed to you. And all you dumbass liberals celebrating we just had a bigger deficit and all this crap, and oh, look, Trump signed it. You people are crazy. You think there'll be some socialist bankruptcy in like Venezuela or Cuba or North Korea, and suddenly you're going to get a bunch of free shit and get people's mansions. You might get mansions, there's going to be ivy growing out of the top of them, and you're going to eat the wild dogs that run around the street. You dumbasses. All your class envy crap. You look at that sun setting right there. Is it setting or is it rising on the Republic? Well, tonight it's setting. But I can tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, I've done my homework. That's why they hate us so much. And the president's not a dictator, like I said 10 times already, probably. So that's it. You smart enough to figure this out? You're going to buy a bunch of BS from Republican blue bloods just waiting to make their move. The establishment's crapping its britches right now because they know this is a real restoration of our republic. And they know the engine of America can lead the world and lead us all in incredible prosperity. But you've had prosperity so long, some of you, maybe you don't appreciate it. So to all the Republicans and all the Democrats, if you like being schmucks, keep believing mainstream media. As for me, I trust Trump because so far he hasn't steered us wrong. I'm Alex Jones, and this is the InfoWar.